The title says one soldier, but we sent hundreds. Why risk an army for one life? The question is old, but the answer has shifted. We no longer ask it the same way. April 1980, Desert One. 8 helicopters, dozens of soldiers, one British diplomat. And nothing was saved. We tell a story about that night, and the story goes like this. A man is trapped. The enemy has him. We decide his life is worth the cost of a rescue. We move mountains. We risk our people. We act. It feels simple when we say it that way, heroic even. But something more complicated happened in that desert. Something that makes the question harder to answer. 8 helicopters flew into Iran that night to extract one person. That mission required the best pilots America had. It required months of planning. It required training in a hidden base in the California desert. It required so many people knowing about it, so many people betting their lives on it, so long before the first helicopter lifted off. And when it was over, all 8 helicopters were still there. The person they came for was still there. 8 American servicemen were dead, and we were left asking a different question than we started with. Here is the principle underneath. We believe 3 things about saving one life. First, a single human life has infinite value, not measured in dollars, not measured in risk, just infinite. Second, we believe that value matters more than the cost. If you can save one at any cost, the cost does not matter. Third, we believe that those who volunteer to bear that cost are heroes, and we honor them for it. Put those 3 things together and you get Desert One. You get 100 lives risked to save one. But here is where it gets difficult. We do not actually believe all 3 of those things all the time. We believe them when the person trapped is one of us. We believe them when the cameras are watching. We believe them when the cost is small enough that we do not have to think about it too hard. But ask yourself, do we believe them when the person is on the other side of the world? Do we believe them when the person is the enemy? Do we believe them when the cost is not 8 dead soldiers but 8,000 civilians? Do we really believe it, or do we just like the way it sounds? The desert taught us something about that contradiction. In 1980, the United States risked 100 lives to save one. That was the choice we made. But here is what is strange about it. The person they came for was British, not American. A diplomat named Alistair McEwen, who worked for the Foreign Office. The Americans did not send that mission because they had to. They sent it because they believed it was the right thing to do. That is the image we carried away from the desert. America, willing to bleed for principle. But after the helicopters burned, after the dust cleared, after the 8 came home in boxes, the question changed. Not because the principle was wrong, because we saw what the principle actually cost. We saw the widows, we saw the children who grew up without fathers. We saw that saving one meant burying 8. And we went quiet about it. We did not stop believing in the principle. We just stopped talking about whether we actually mean it. The world has not gotten simpler since 1980. We still face these choices. We still have to decide what a single life is worth. We still have to decide who we will bleed for and who we will not. But we do it differently now. We do it by drone. We do it from far away. We do it where we do not have to watch the faces of the people we are risking. We do it in a way that lets us keep believing in the principle without having to count the cost. That is not even. But it is a choice. Every time we decide to save one life by risking 10 or 100 or 1,000, we are making that choice again. Every time we decide that distance matters, that a life far away is worth less risk than a life near, we are answering the question we asked in the desert. The question is not gone. We have just stopped asking it out loud. And that might be the most human thing we do, not the principle itself, the silence around it. What does it say about us that we are willing to die for principle, but only when the cameras might be watching? What does it say that we honor the sacrifice without looking at what we actually sacrificed it for? Desert One does not answer that question. It just forces you to ask it, and maybe that is enough. Maybe the asking is where we find out who we actually are.